Okay, thank you very much. As she said, she introduced me. That's really nice. Jessie and Reilly and I live in Naples, Florida, and I am chef and owner of Take the Cake Decor. The last class, we went through quite a few things, and some of the things you didn't get to see finished. You just heard me talk about them. So I'm just going to start where I left off. The first thing I was going to cover is the formula for fried wafer. What I did the last time, I had already had some of the ground wafer mixed up, and I just added water to it. So the formula is 6 grams of take your scraps and put them in a few coffee grinder that you have, or grind them all up. So 6 grams of this, and then 100 ml of water, and I usually use distilled water or bottled water. So that's the formula for that one. And also, you did not see how I had done, and I was promoting paraffin wax to be on the ends of flowers to go into cakes, and also competition cakes, but that would have to be checked first with any of the judges or the head judge that you could do that. So what I did was I did a paraffin wax melt onto one of the wafer sticks that I was making on the last ring. You can't see it. It's very clear and white. And this has been in this cake since the last demo I did. So you can see it did not melt. It doesn't penetrate the wafer, and it was in this cake. So here's some wafer flowers that I did and put it in. This is a real cake, by the way, and I lustered them with the sticks, the wafer sticks that we did at the last demo, and then put paraffin wax on it, and then they just go into your cake like that, and you can cover the whole end of it and have it going all the way down and do your thing. This is the finished calla lily that we did in wafer, and the center, and it's set up and it's been in the refrigerated. And the other thing that I did not mention in the last, I do treat my wafer paper when I'm going to put it onto the cake. I see a lot of abstract designs done in wafer going onto cakes without possibly treating it with paper potion, or a mix of potion and vodka or Everclear. So that's what I do when I'm just tearing and putting onto a cake, so that the environment does not twist and shout and take all your beautiful design away. So I'm going to set that to the side. This is just a little review on that. And also, I was talking on the last one is how to do transfer onto wafer paper stenciling, and I had said that you take the wafer paper, you put a little fat on there. I forgot to mention that you can use white butter also if you like. A lot of people use Crisco and just a light scum across your wafer paper, and then any one of these stencils or another design, you just take your luster dust and it sticks to it. That's the reason. Somebody was asking, what is the reason that you put the fat onto the wafer paper? That's the reason, so that you don't have to wet your wafer. You don't have to do anything to it. You just have to use your different brushes and luster your design. The other thing I was catching you up with was the rolling of Nicole Bending Lamb had put this on a Icing Images a couple years ago, or however long ago, and then I started making edible stems and things for flowers. So that's almost catching you up to the last one. This one is a little different. We're going to use paper potion. A couple of weeks ago, before Deb, your Chef P was on, and there was people asking questions about her formula that she was using that is made from corn syrup and Everclear. And she was doing a glaze in that, and they had asked, can you just put it onto parchment paper or wax paper? And of course you didn't say my name, but you said as soon as that was going on there, and she didn't have the answer at the time, that somebody's going to catch that and test it. So I did. You can't peel that up at all because it does dry, but they wanted to know if you could do like the stained glass kind of thing. And I had this product here is your Flex Frost, and she was using Flex Frost, and then her formula, and her formula was equal parts of corn syrup and Everclear, and I used equal parts of corn syrup and vodka, and it's 100 proof, but it doesn't come off. That's wax paper, and this is parchment. So no, it does. The answer to that question is no, it does not go off. You have to do it right on the cake. So the other thing that I had was there was a question on Chef P's demo about can you freeze it on a cookie? So I froze the cookie and I froze your Flex Frost and made the cookie, decorated it, and put it in the freezer because I knew that I wasn't on with you at the time. I had to do the rewatch. So this is your Flex Frost. I just knocked it off, but it sticks to it isn't because it's frozen that it came off, so I didn't stick it well enough, but it's been in the freezer since her demo. So the Flex Frost still flexes nice and it's still frozen. This cookie is still frozen. I just took it out. It's been in the freezer for since she did her demo, and I did not package it. So yes, the answer to your question is yes, you can freeze Flex Frost and you can freeze the cookie. Usually your cookies are done in a bag and you bring them out. I prefer not to do that in case I've colored it so much with black or something like that. And if you notice, it's not running at all. It's starting to thaw, so the black is not coming off on the cookie. So that's the other answer. No, it didn't bleed for me, so it shouldn't bleed for you. And I think that's catching you up. We had also talked about perforation and some other techniques. Tonight, I would like to get a little crafty with you. What I mean by crafty is that there's a site that I like to watch, and you make all these different designs out of craft paper. And the reason I wanted to do this evening is because this product is so wonderful, and it's wafer paper. And you can make it into all different designs. Also, we talked about storage for your papers. It's a big white container and putting it in a moist area. If you live in an area like Tucson, Arizona, and those areas, you do have to put a little moisture inside your container and keep your packages zipped up. And what the great thing is, refrigeration has a lot of moisture in it. So if you were having problems in those areas, in a dry area, that's where you keep it sealed at the top and just put it in the fridge, and or put it in a container and put it in the fridge so it doesn't take on any other refrigeration scents that could be in there. So if I'm going along too quickly, it's because I want to do this technique for you tonight. And I'm hoping that you enjoy it, because it is a lot of fun. I have a list beside me, so I want to just make sure I've done everything. My biggest concern about wafer paper, and I hope you're all right with this, Debbie, is that when I watch certain tutorials, they're just taking it and putting it on a cake and not treating it. Well, I treat it. If I'm going to tear it and put it on a wedding cake and it's going to go out in an environment. The reason for that is because I live in Southwest Florida and it's always very moist here. And wafer paper can take on another shape after you have designed your cake. So what I do is I give it a spritz of your paper potion just lightly, and then it's treated for any of the environment, and usually stays very, very well for the cakes. So I have a feathered flower here that usually is done in art construction paper. This is done in wafer. This one here is another one that I'm going to do for you in a couple of minutes. And this is all wafer paper. And you can see over here where I have the black cake that I'll mount this flower onto the black cake. And because it's so nice and it is what you call a fantasy flower, you know that I deal with fantasy flowers and botanically correct flowers also. So I'm going to show you the cut on that, but there is a site that you can go to if you forget how I fold this, and it's done with the construction paper. I'm using this wafer. So what I'm going to do is take one full sheet of your wafer, just like this, and I'm going to put the camera down, and the first flower that I'm going to do is the larger one. So I'm just going to get it down there so you can see it. So what the fold is, I'm going to fold with the rough side. There's a rough side on wafer and there's a smooth side. Now there's other grades of wafer also. Isn't that correct, Eddie?
Yeah, there is.
And this is the lightest one.
Yeah, that's called AD.
Uh-huh. Okay, so I'm going to take this corner and I'm going to fold it over here right along the edge of the other side of the wafer. And I have my scissors at my side. I'm going to turn it around like this. And I'm just going to cut this end off it. And I'm going to set this up here because we'll use that a little bit later. Then I'm going to take this corner, this is the open area, and I'm going to take the folded area and fold it up here. Then I fold at the bottom, so that's a fold. And this is a fold over here. Then I'm going to take it and I'm going to fold it up here again. Now this part is just like that. Okay, so we got a fold and a fold. I have a pencil here that I need to have. Fold down, and fold is down, and the fold is on this side. So then I'm just using a pencil to make an arch onto this. Just start on this side. It's kind of faint. Put the camera down a little bit here. Just like a half circle kind of from one end to the next. So this is the open, this is the folded, and this is the folded. Then I'm going to come here and I'm not going to go to the corner. I'm going to make another half circle over here and then another one right here. And the ends of this half circle over here are not going to be cut. So then I'm going to turn this around here and I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut right on that line, right through the fold. Down a little further, save my scraps. I'm going to take and cut this in here. And I'm not going to cut straight through on this one, just to that little end, the little mark. Then I'm going to do the same on this one, but I'm not going to cut through the fold. So then I'm going to turn it around like this and I'm going to open it up and through the folds. And voila.
Wow.
Then I'm going to turn it around and flatten it down, just like that. And I have some glue that I made. And my glue that I usually use is Little Honey's Nicholas Lodge glue, and this is This is my homemade Tylose and water, and just a little. You want to be very light when you put anything that's water based onto wafer paper. So I'm just going to take this center. Let's pull you up here. Can you see? Pull it back just like that. Okay, so I'm just going to take a little bit on the end and a little bit on the end. Just tap it a little and pull that up into the center and press it down. And I'm going to take this, put a little more on here and bring it into the center, press it down. I'll just turn this around so I can work with it. Everybody see that? Just a little more glue, bring it down and press it in. So you're making a centerpiece for your cake. Works really well on any size cake, really. And that is one. So then we want to have a second one, which I went ahead because I wasn't sure about the time period. We've got is 25 after. So this one here is the same technique, only that I pulled a different part in on this one. If you'll notice, I pulled the open part in on this one, and on this one, I pulled the center of it. So on this one, we're going to, what I usually do is I put flowers, another flower of exactly the same onto that. It just shows you, you can pull this one down and glue it, and you get this image, and you can do it like this and get this image. So I'm going to set this one aside, and I'm going to bring this one up. And I have this one cut already and set that one up here. And I'm going to do this one for you. This one is cut the same way as I cut the last one. And I'm going to take this one and do it the same as that one there. Just a little bit of the glue on the end and bring it up and stick it to the center. And I'm going to take this one, wet it down a little bit again. Just a very, very light amount of glue. You don't need very much because a wafer is very delicate, but it also is pretty tough, as you can tell, because I just folded it, brought it around. So I got that going there. And tap it again. Now I pre-cut the other one a bit because, and this one, because I didn't think you'd want to watch me cut for the evening, because you might have some questions. So then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this, I'm going to put a little more glue on this one because it's been sitting up for a little while. You don't have to let it sit. And I'm going to offset this and push that in.
That's gorgeous.
Thank you. I like it. I'll use it.
Reiterate something. So the reason why it's so flexible is because you pre-treated it before with the paper potion. I know you said it before, but I just wanted to reiterate the fact that's why you're able to fold it so well and it doesn't break on you.
No, I said that the reason is it's fresh. I didn't treat this at all. I didn't treat it at all. Wafer paper, your wafer is being folded because there's moisture. I store it because of the way I store it. And that's exactly what you picked up on. And when I'm putting it, you know how we tear images and just stick it on a cake and have them go up in willy-nilly. Well, as soon as you do that, wafer paper can take on moisture if it isn't treated. So that's when I treat it. When it goes on somebody's cake order and it's going to go out into the environment and I don't know how they're going to store it, I don't just tear the wafer and just stick it on or mist it with water and have it make its own shapes and then stick it on. What I do is I spray it with, mist it with your paper potion. So it is, and once the potion dries, it sets the wafer. So then when I go out into the environment after decorating my cake, it's not going to go willy-nilly. It's going to stay within its the way I designed the cake. Now, what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to show you, I have a mister spray over here. It's a very fine one. You can get it on Amazon or at some of the stores, and it plugs in and it charges itself, and it's very fine. You'll see this. I'll move this over a little bit, but I'm going to move this wafer around so you can see it. You see how it's misting? You can see that? So I'm just going to go like this around this flour, and I'll show you what can happen in the environment if you have not treated the wafer with something, and you just rip the wafer and put it on your cake. Moisture can go into it, but look at what I can do with it. I can make it, shape it, move it, and it's not wetting it down. You can also use steam, like a steamer, and do all that. I'm going to turn this around and roll it up just like this, press it together. And if you want to put it in a bowl and form it, you can do that too. So I'm just going to take a little more of this mist, wet it down, and show you how it moves. You see how I can move all those petals? Now, if I had treated this, I would have hand moved it, like I was pressing on it. So this one, now that it's kind of damp, I'm going to take this one out. And you see I have a bowl, and I'm sure everybody has a bowl in the house. You can just take that and set your flour in there and let it, it does have to dry a little bit because it's got a little moisture in it. And if you did want to treat it with paper potion, you finally spray it. It'll take a little while, but then you also, what you can do is you can take one quarter of Everclear or vodka and mix it in a separate container and mix it with your paper potion, and it will dry. It will get very crispy on that one. So I recommend that if you're going to want to contour your flour and move it around, that you use paper potion. And also, the wonderful thing about paper potion is that it has a wonderful taste. It also can be sprayed on the side of your cake, mist your buttercream or whatever fondant. So in order to stick this, I'm going to get my husband to go and warm up the Isomalt, because I use Isomalt, as I said in the last demo. I use Isomalt to stick a lot of things on cakes. So now this is going to form. It'll only take 15, 20 minutes, depends on your environment. My environment might take a little longer because we have storms every day. It's a very moist down here. It's sunny all the time. So that's that one flour. As soon as the this is just a little mister that I use to mist onto the wafer paper to form it. And this flour here is now set up. And what I did is I just wet the center of it a little bit. I got to get where I'm supposed to be. Okay. I just wet the center with a bit of my glue, and I had some of the chalet pearls that they sell, and I like little blue centers, and I just dropped them down and then shook it off, and it made a center. So this one, I'm going to put it on the cake with, these are the branches that we made in the last set, and this flour, it doesn't have to be really, really hot. It was just a little melted. I'm just going to put a little of the Isomalt on there and put this on this cake. Yeah. Now these little instruments are silicone, and I work with them to put the Isomalt onto here. So I'm going to, can you see that okay? I'm going to move it back because it's hot sugar, and when you're working with it, this is Simi Isomalt and nice and clear. So I also have the branches adhered to the cake with the isomalt, and you can see how sturdy they are. I can push on it, and when I'm making these, I just attach them while they're still wet and air dry them. And in the last session, I forgot to show you the one that we rolled out. It was dried by the time we were finished, and that's in less than an hour. So I'm just going to take a little bit of this isomalt, the gooey part, and I'm just going to put it right here. And then I'm just going to hold that flour on there for a minute or so. And if you have some cold spray, which I do, just in case it wants to penetrate, it's my go-to thing. And so then we have the flour, got to get the right position, on the cake. Now, also you have to remember, I like it to be this way before I would take it anywhere. But after moisture or the air gets at it, it could spread out like it's going to bloom. And that's what I'm talking about. If you don't treat your wafer and you just tear it and stick all the different designs on it, those designs can open up with the moisture in the air, or they can stay. Sometimes they stay and sometimes they don't. And this one has been treated to the point where I have had it resting for 2 days before this demo. So it's not going outside, but I will possibly take it off and save it. So we'll set that one to the side, and we have some little hairs down here, and those little hairs are caused from working with isomalt. So don't be alarmed when you see those, because they're kind of add to it. Now the other flour, this one here, there's a little more work to it, but it is a lot of fun because you can, I'm going to show you this when I missed it and have it move a little bit. Sometimes they get laying down too much, so I'm going to have it move and form around. You notice how it's moving? Just shut that off, and you see I can just comb it over like that, and it's all into itself, and it will form so that when you go on your cake, you can do a tiered cake and go all the way down with these flowers. And the center, all I do is I did exactly the same, is I had the little pearls, and if you excuse me for a minute, I'll go get the pearls and put them in there, but let's cut one of those and show you how I cut it. And then what I'll do is I'll put it together because I have some pre-cut. So I need another sheet of wafer paper. I got flowers coming out of my flowers everywhere. This is the shiny side and this is the dull side. It does not matter which side you use. So this I'm going to fold the same as I did with the other one. And I'll give you the site that you can go on because I know it's going to be hard for everybody to remember which way did you fold this, which way did you fold that. But it's usually done with construction paper, and this paper has not been treated. None of it at all. It's just fresh. It's been stored properly, and also we live in an environment that's nice and moist. So then I'm going to fold this again. And then I'm going to fold it again. This one, for the center part of this, it could be a little tough for you. So you just fold it. It doesn't mean that the paper is going to break. If it's stored properly, it's going to be fine. Then in the way you would do it with construction paper, then the last fold for the largest one, you just go over this way and press down on it. And then I'm going to take it use my scissors. I'm going to cut it in a round form, just like that. Save your I just got to make sure I had the folds in the right place. We'll find out in a minute. Well, I've made so many of them that okay. So this is kind of like feathering. And because I folded it so many times, the next one I'll show you that you don't have to fold it as many times. But for the center one, sometimes it takes a little more fold. So I'm going to open that up. It's like this. Like this. And you notice the paper has not snapped. It's still just like working with construction paper. I'm going to open this up, and voila. Now, if you have some wide parts, like in here you can go around and just give them a little snip if you want to. But for this, and now I want to show you how this also can form. You can manipulate it. I'm going to wait until I put it together for you. So I have some pre-cut. And for the center ones, I have all these little sheets. And these are the smaller ones that go, and you offset each one in there. And this one could go in there or like this. You can do as many as you want. Usually it's about 4. And then your centers go in like this. So I'm just going to set that aside. And then I'm going to take this and fold this up here, similar to, I want a little square. So, and yes, you can use your ruler and measure that, make it an exact square. And I'm going to pull that back. And now, see, it's perforated, so I can take that off. And I'm going to fold it up to the corner. And then I'm going to fold it again. And then I'm going to fold it again to the corner. Now, keep in mind that this says you can do any size of square to do this. So I'm just going to start cutting on the fold and make a little circle around. And I'm going to, oops, well, I'm going to feather it. Cut that right off, but it might be a different shape, but that's okay. Okay. Open it up. Separating the little feathers is kind of difficult. Okay, so we do have a little bit of different shape, but that's okay because these are fantasy flowers. So to put it together, we do exactly the same thing. I'm still going to use that because I like it. Exactly the same as we did with the other one. I'm just going to take a little bit of my glue and just tap the center. Now this one here is kind of like, you remember in the last first visit on Wafer, I showed you a feather. And the feather is just cut in a shape times 3 shapes. And then you put a little wire down the center of it. And you cut the feather part just exactly the same along the sides as I did here. And I'm going to steam this. Might have to put a little more water in my little mister. So you offset each layer. And this one sets in there. And these two can set any way you want them to. Offset them there into the center. And this one's kind of winky wonky. So we'll just put that in like that. And this Tylose and water dries very quickly, so that's why I'm able to do it this way. So I'm just going to hold this. This is the technique that I use for making the feathers. I wasn't the one that invented it, but it is online if you wanted to look up feathers. And I have my tool here, and I'm just going to put a little moisture in it. Check my moisture first. How's our time? We're doing pretty good here. I'm going to put a little more water in this. And this little spritzer is powered. You plug it in and it stays powered. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to moisturize it. If it will do it. And of course it doesn't want to do it. There it goes. So I'm going to turn it upside down so that I can go around and mist it. You can also use one of the small little bottles that mist it, but you can see how it's moving. The paper itself is moving. I'm going to do the center more on this one because you can see it better when I go to separate it. Now it's moving the opposite direction than you think that we need it, but I want it to do that because it's going to separate when I use my tool. Do you notice how it's growing, the feathers? And then I'm going to take my tool and I'm just going to give it a little bend here and there, just to make sure that it separates. And you just go around the edging and separate it up, give it a little pull, work on it a little bit. And my mister, I'm going to have to recharge it a little bit. So what you do is you go through the different levels and just let it grow. If you'll notice that it's moving. Some of it's a little more moist than others, but as you work with it, it starts to move. You see how it's opening?
That's so cool.
Yeah. And you make the feathers exactly the same way. You just layer them out in the shape of a feather and lay them all this together. See how it's turning in the middle and it's moving up. So then also with this one, after you get it to that point, you can press it in. See how strong it is actually. And then you can also use your tool and separate it up so that you give it a little more, depending on the time that you have. But this should start to move even more as you dry it. And I always put them and set them in a bowl. I have an extra bowl over here. This one's a little wider than the other one, and which I like on this one because then it just sits down into that bowl. And one question that I get is, what about color? Well, I don't use my airbrush on it. I usually use something that's colored alcohol base so that it hits the outside, or else luster dust. I spritz it with luster dust. The other part that I wanted to show you is how to cover a fondant cake. And this could be spooky. It could be anything you want. This is an old demo dummy that I have that's covered in fondant. And if you see here, it's all marked up and looking pretty ugly. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to... Dave wants to know if we're talking about him or the cake.
That's good.
Yeah. So I have also, over here, I have a bag that I store my scraps in. and then usually they'll get totally ground up. So I'm going to wet down some of this wafer paper with paper potion and show you how I put that on that cake. I'm going to get I'm using quite a few sheets, but I do have ends here that I'm going to use up, and I'm going to kind of have to work so that you can see what I'm doing. I don't spray on the mat. I spray to the side. So all I'm going to do is get it nice and wet, and then I'm going to lay it on here in ripples so that you realize that there's some cakes that are done with fondant and they're ruffled and have movement, or they're sashed. You can do exactly the same with your wafer paper. So I'm just going to wet down. It kind of moves. You see, it's really kind of movie. And I'm just going to pull it together on the sides, and I'm just going to kind of drape that onto the cake. Now this is the other question that I get is, does this work on buttercream? So you see how that went on there? And then if you have pieces left over, just like I do, I'm just using the potion here. And I'm just wetting it down. I'm making movement, pulling it together. If you don't want to pull it together, you don't have to. Just sticking it onto the cake. And it gives you this layered look. And it covers a buttercream cake, which I have over there. And I'll show you a piece going onto the buttercream. The other thing that I like to do is let these forms often set up before I put it onto the buttercream cake. And once it's set up, if you notice, there I have another layer going on there. And it just sticks to the fondant. And then I had some, you can take smaller pieces and spray it in there. And it's not really saturated to the point where it starts to pull like marshmallow, just enough so that it sets in there. If you have so many open spaces, you can just kind of contour it. And it covers the cake. Have some little snippets of snowflakes. I seem to be into the Christmas mood lately. So now I'm just going to spray a little bit on here so it sticks right on there and covers up any opens, or you can do cookies on there. You can do macarons on there. You can put whatever you want. And I use, like I said, I use Simi, S-I-M-I, Isomalt for sticking most of my edible papers on. And that is another technique with wafer. Now, the other thing I was going to tell you that coming up to the timeline is that I have a list of probably 43 different techniques and things that I can do with wafer paper. And the timeline to do that, we don't have that time on a demo like this. But I think if you go on YouTube and look up icing images, could you warm this up for me? Just a little bit. It doesn't have to be a lot, just enough. So I'm going to take this flour and I'm going to give it a home right there. And then if you see the backs, you're possibly say, oh, well, it's flat on the back. So they're going to see all that sticking up once you put that on there. And yep, you do. So you can take other pieces, leftover pieces, and just kind of form it onto the back. After it's there, you just stick it in onto the back and make your own design so that it looks like it's going all the way up. I hear some burping going on there. Is that me?
Somewhat.
Blip, blip, blip. Am I losing you? Is that us?
I'm not sure what you're hearing.
It's okay. It's gone now. It's okay. I thought I was
Okay.
coming off offline. Just a little bit.
Oh, no, you're good. We do have a couple questions.
Okay, I'm going to stop. I'm just going to stick this on here, and
Okay.
I'm going to be right on you, right here. So, okay. So that is Isomalt. And I'm going to put it on the back of this time. And I'm just going to stick that right like that. Which that right like that is not solid yet. So I'm going to use a little cold spray, which not everybody would have cold spray, but if you just wait a few minutes, it needs a little more stick. Now, so the back of it, just be a minute there, Deb. See the back of this, you're going to see the flat part, right? So you're going to have all these little ends left over, and you can take them and put some of the glue on them and just set them in there, and it forms the back of it like this. I'm just going to cut it. Just cut it like that and save those scraps. And then I'm just going to set that in there so that it looks like it's part of it. So then it looks finished. Okay? So that'll rest there. This is done on an edible stick. All I did was take pieces like this, and it looks like fireworks. You can put it on the back of your cake. So you can put this whole piece into your cake and go as far down as you want. You can take these and feather them, and you can feather them this way and then just put some glue on it here and wrap them around and just keep going all the way down. It looks like you can spray it with luster, and you can then put the sparkle on it, and you can do different colors all around, and it looks like New Year's Eve. Or you can just use them as they are and put some, pearl luster on it, or leave it as it is. And the more you mist it, the more shape it comes. But it's been layered, if you can see that. Okay?